Hi there and welcome to this Wellington property market update for the month of May 2020 compared to May 2019. I'm Adam Coburn, Low & Co Realty, and in May the market was very strong. Prices still high and supply very tight. Before we get into the detail, just remember that May was the first month out of the COVID lockdown, and during March we were in level 4 lockdown and the property market was essentially closed completely. We couldn't conduct physical viewings, buyers and sellers could not physically move houses. On the 28th of April we went to level 3, and that meant we could conduct a maximum of 2 private appointments per property per day, but still no open homes. On the 14th of May, we went to level 2, meaning we could run open homes again, but with a maximum of 10 people per property at one time. Now that might not sound like a major restriction, but a popular property could have 40 or 50 groups at an open home on a Sunday, even more. And with 2 to 3 people per group, this amounts to 100 people or more, and with only 10 people in the property at once, that means there's a long time for people to wait to get into the property. So only on the 9th of June did we enter level 1 with no restrictions on numbers on open homes again. So in summary, May was by no measure a normal month in the real estate market. Our ability to show properties was seriously restricted, and as a result, I was expecting to see listing and sale volumes fall dramatically and duration to sell increase significantly. This is not because the market was in trouble, just that we were operating under extremely difficult and restricted conditions. So let's take a look at the numbers and see what happened. So in terms of new listings, we saw 548 new listings in the Wellington region in May 2020 compared to 724 in May 2019. Now that's a drop of 24%. And lots of buyers have been saying to me there would be a huge influx of new properties coming to the market as a result of COVID. But in actual fact, the opposite has happened. Some owners who were thinking of selling about now felt uncertain about the market coming out of lockdown, and so they decided to postpone their plans to sell and wait and see what happens. And as a result, the number of properties that were going to come to the market have reduced. Those properties are not coming to the market anymore. Now that's frustrating for buyers. Well, certainly they're not coming to the market at the moment. It's frustrating for buyers who are frustrated with a lack of choice of listings. But as owners see that properties are selling, and they're still selling very well for very good prices, I'm sure that they will feel confident again to bring their place to the market. So hopefully we'll see listings volumes gradually return to more levels again in the next few months. In terms of median sale price, we saw a median sale price in Wellington of $677,510 in May 2020 compared to $618,000 in May 2019. That's a very healthy increase of 10%. When you compare it to the median prices in the previous 3 months, however, which were all over $700,000, this is actually a drop. But the data can, of course, vary significantly from month to month, and our experience is that prices are remaining really very, very strong. So I don't think this is a downwards trend in price at all, and we'll see indeed in the next couple of months. In terms of duration to sell, as I expected, the average duration to sell a property in Wellington in May was significantly increased at 53 days in May 2020 versus 36 in May 2019. That's an increase of 53% or 17 days. But again, this is to be expected. All the sales that were due to settle in April during the lockdown were postponed until May. In fact, most in my experience were postponed till level 2. Given level 3 and 4 lasted about 7 weeks or 35 days, the fact that the duration to sell increased by only 17 days is actually not a lot. So in my view, this actually demonstrates how strong the property market is, not how much trouble it's in. In terms of number of sales in the month, we saw 511 sales in May 2020 compared to 841 in May 2019, a drop of 39%. And again, some commentators are hailing this as a sign that the market is in big trouble. But given we were so hamstrung in May in terms of showing properties to buyers, I think it's amazing we saw as many as 511 sales during May. This reduced figure is purely the result of constraints we were operating under Certainly not the result of reduced demand. And if you think about it, if it was as a result from reduced demand, we would see property prices falling, which is certainly not what we're seeing on the ground. In terms of inventory, market supply has remained tight in terms of inventory levels as we went into lockdown, and they have been tight for the last 5 years or so. I'm not sure why, but for some reason the inventory data has not been published for May this month, so we don't have those numbers this time around. We'll have to wait to see what happens next month and the month after, but there's certainly no loosening of supply levels from what we can see, so I'm not expecting any major change in the near future. How many listings are we seeing on the market in total in terms of Trade Me listings? We've got 1,525 listings in the Wellington region in about mid-June compared to 1,936 in mid-June 2019. That's a significant reduction of 21%. Although that's considerably lower than a year ago, it is very consistent with overall volumes in the last few months, indeed in the first half of 2020 so far, which have generally been lower than last year, indicative of the fact that the market continues to tighten a little. So no noticeable change since COVID, and indeed if supply does remain this low, it does not suggest prices are going to fall anytime soon. Tony Alexander has recently done an agent survey in conjunction with the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand, basically exploring what agents around the country are seeing in terms of what's happening in the market, and the feedback he received was that most agents feel that prices are rising around the country, less so in Auckland than elsewhere, and first home buyers in particular are very, very active, and investors are getting a little more active. Not lots more, not like first home buyers, but a little more active than the past, and all of this is consistent with what we're seeing here in Wellington. In terms of where to from now, possible predictions, obviously always very, very risky making predictions in the real estate market, because the truth is nobody knows. But I do suspect that in the next few months we'll continue to see listings and sales volumes slightly reduced from normal, but reverting back to normal, and duration to sell will come back to normal very quickly. Will prices fall in Wellington? Certainly there's no sign of it so far, but if they do fall later in the year or perhaps next year, I can't see them suffering to the same degree that I think is likely to happen or might happen elsewhere in the country. Wellington's a very defensive location in terms of property market. So that's it from us, guys. That's it for this month. Thanks for checking in. Hope this is interesting. If you want an appraisal of your property or you just want to talk real estate, give us a shout. Adam Coburn at Low & Co. See you next month.